Welcome to part 2 of our tier list. Let me tell you what the tier list is. We're putting players into 4 categories. Long term, that's the green section of the pen. Do for now, the blue section of the pen. Jury's out, black section of the pen. Time to part ways, that's the red one. You can see that's already. Can you see on there? I'm ready. I'm all ready for a time to part ways now. So yesterday, over on the main channel, myself and Geo, we divvied up about half of the squad. Geo, would you just like to take us through who's in there and whereabouts they are?
Yes, long term so far, we've got Fornals, we've got Downs, Johnson, Zuma and Rice. In the do for now, so the next couple of years, he's all right at West Ham. We've got Fabianski, Benrahma and Creswell. Jury is out for Vlasic and Coventry. However, we've decided it's time to part ways with Lanzini, Masuaku and Randolph. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We've done 13 and we've got 14 to go in this part.
Well, there we go. So we've got a decision to make here because what did we finish on Vlasic last time? You pardon the expression. My word. Let's. Can we start? Do you mind? Can we begin with Thilo Kehrer? Would you mind, please?
We can do. Right. Let's. Where's this? Where's the button? Oh, there you go. I can't. I've lost that button. You're gonna have to do it now. Right. Thilo Kehrer. Right. Let's find him. Where is he? Finding him is the biggest issue here with these small people. There he is. I can find him now. Right, where you fancy him? He's got to go in long term, Gonzo.
He's got to go in long term. It's as simple as that, really. I've been wowed by this unexpected player. When I went to buy my dog, right? Excuse me. When I went to buy my dog, we went to buy one dog, right? And we went and chose it, right, to the breeder and all the rest of it. And then actually, at the end of it, I actually came away with 2 dogs, right? Because I bought Bubbles, and then I thought, oh no, I've got to take another one. So actually, we call Baggins, who's the other dog, the unexpected one. A bit like the special one, really. And I do think that Thilo Kehrer is the unexpected one. I wasn't, no links to him or anything like that. It's just far better than I ever thought he was. I do wonder how many other teams are looking round and kicking themselves, thinking, wow, could have got that guy for whatever, 10, 12 million. I know it's not just that, because he's going to be on healthy wages because from the club he's departed. But absolutely brilliant. And he's one of, like when a game starts, you're looking forward to seeing someone play. He's one of them already. Not something I traditionally do with defenders. And if I do, they're sort of attacking defenders, they're fullbacks or something like that. Can't even think very often I look forward to seeing a centre back play, but I do with him. And I often think, just watch him, see when he's going to switch it and just play a pass that you least expect. Really, really good player, Gio.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you look forward to him, his ability on the ball, his vision, and his bravery on the ball as well. You've got, like, what I would almost call Tomas Soucek-itis for me, which is when you've got a player you've never heard of come to your club, so you've got no expectations, and you're pleasantly surprised. It happens quite often, doesn't it? It's not like Emerson, for example, where if you're not particularly keen on him, when he comes, you're already a little bit like, there's no surprise element coming because you know the player. Whereas for yourself with Kehrer, you don't know him. And I mean, the unexpected one's a lot better than the accidental one, isn't it? Which some of my friends have been known as the accident. But yes, and long-term plan for me. I think really good age, really good pedigree, fantastic player. And, we thought we were buying a player to sort of fill in while we got Aguerd back. Well, actually, I think we've now got a player that's going to be next to Aguerd if all things go right. So, Thilo Kehrer into the top tier of long term. Right, what we've got next? Let's have a little look here. We have got, let's go to Emerson then, Gonzo.
Okay.
Where would you like to put Emerson?
The jury is massively out for me. The jury is massively out. I am far from convinced. Let me just speak candidly on this one. Don't just while it's you and me talking, G. I don't tell anyone else, right? But when everyone says about this great attacking play, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. I just think the expectations are so low. I think we've seen a fullback run into the box a little bit. We go, hey, look, that's brilliant, isn't it? And I'm not so sure. I don't think he's going to defend for Toffee. I think he's awful defensively, actually. Remember, like we said, Agent Soucek, because he brought Coufal in, and he brought Crow in. You don't get many brownie points from bringing Crow in. I don't think you've got a bit of an Agent Emerson going on here, because I think without him, Paqueta possibly doesn't sign. So I think that's a really good thing. I don't think he's awful. Nah. The jury is out, and I think he will score a couple of goals this season. But we still need to buy a left
that's
back.
a bold shout, considering he's already got one, isn't it?
I know. There you go. I still think we need to buy a left back.
Jury's out for me as well, not for the same reasons as you, just because, well, we don't know, do we? Is he good enough to be here for the next 5 years? His age profile isn't the greatest either. It's not the worst, I think the problem with sort of FIFA and Football Manager have been two brilliant games for not just for entertainment purposes, but more Football Manager here. I think it's been really good for expanding game players' knowledge of the game and the players and players to look out for and stuff. And I know people say it's a game, but I think with Football Manager, when they suggest a player is going to go on and become one of the best in the world, quite often they get it right. That 20-year-old does. By the time they're 23, they are playing in Champions League or whatever. But one thing I think the game has done is almost make people believe that when a player hits 30, they're just declining. Like, that's it. They turn crap at the age of 30.
Sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Fitness is gone.
They start losing marks and stuff.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that. And that's not true. So when I say Emerson's age profile is not great, it's not the worst either. He's 28. He's got 5 years at the top level at least anyway. I just don't know if he'll fit in and do well here. I don't know if he's going in the he'll do for now or the long-term one. Hopefully it's the long-term one. I agree to some extent with your analysis. I think he's a little bit better going forward than you're making on. I think his runs are really good. I think his link-up play so far with various different players in the team has been quite promising. Bear in mind he's barely been here. Defensively a concern, of course, but he was much better suited when sort of playing in a back three with Fornals on the left next to him. Defensively, he was pretty fine then because he was playing that deep. I think the problem is when we play him in that conventional left back spot, because he likes to get forward, I think he's often maybe 5-10 yards a little bit further forward than you'd like him to be. But in a back three, you can't really do that. He's sort of restricted to make sure he's in line with Kurt Zouma. So I think we'll have some really big performances from him. I think we'll see some man-of-match performances from him. But I also think we'll see some performances from him this season, which are getting the lowest marks at the starting 11. I mean, if he hadn't scored on Thursday, he'd possibly already have one. Yeah. I think we'll see a very topsy-turvy season from Emerson. Back to the tier list. We'll leave Nayef Aguerd for now because
he's got his arms crossed.
Yeah, let's do Aguerd. I mean, he's all lit up. I don't know what they must have changed the light bulb for him or something.
They did. He looks grumpy about it as well. That's why he's got his arms folded. He's not happy. He's probably thinking, "Hold on, that is a little bit aggressive. That light is shining right in my eyes."
Where are you suggesting to put him? Because there's only two categories for me. He's either got to go in jury's out because he's broken and we don't know, or he's got to go in long term because he's an expensive purchase and a good age.
He's a record ever defensive signing. I would have to put him in long term, and hope, Geo, that the injury is not going to affect that he's not going to spend his whole career injured with West Ham. It's just one.
Well, that's why I would argue he should go in jury's out because we don't know.
No, I agree, and there's nothing nothing wrong with doing that, but it is just that injury, and it's just be such a shame if one injury in a pre-season friendly would stop someone who was seen as our long-term future defender, pivotal to the way we're going to play, a way the manager wants us to play, would then go to somebody where the jury's out and he might be off, in 2 or 3 seasons because he's an injury-prone player. It's really hard to say anything other than that. Let's be fair. Nobody has really seen him play for it. I went to the Reading game. I guess I've seen him play as much as any, as much as anyone else. He got injured in the Rangers game, didn't he? No one's really seen him play, mate. So
I'll leave him in the long term. We'll wait for news, but if only there was somewhere we could get news.
Well, it's funny you say that, Joe, because I do know such a place where you can get news, and that place is the One Football app, which will prompt me to point down below, because down below is where the link is. And literally under this screen, there's a whole body of text where we tell you all sorts of stuff about Hammer's Chat and about everything on there. And in that body of text is a link. You click it, and it takes you to the Play Store or wherever you get your apps from, and it allows you to download the One Football app to your phone or mobile device. It's free. It ain't even going to charge you anything. Why do you want the One Football app? It's the same as all the other apps, right? No. Because what it will do, it will sort through all the Premier League news, because you tell it you're a West Ham fan, it will say West Ham news. I'm going to take that. I'll pop that in their phone. It will search through the newspapers. It will say West Ham news. I'm going to take that. I'm going to pop that on their phone. There's transfer news. There's injury news. Hopefully not too much injury news. There's interviews with the players. There's squad news. There's results. They have the starting lineups sometimes before even the official West Ham site as the starting lineups. It's your one-stop shop for all your footballing needs. That's the One Football app. Please use the link below. I know you've come from Hammer's Chat, and I'll give us a little pat on the head for doing so.
Yes, hopefully it lights up your life like West Ham lit up Nayef Aguerd's profile picture. Top tier app. Oh, there's so many stuff we could have used there to promote the One Football app. But right, we'll get back to our tier list now.
Yes, indeedy.
Maxwell Cornet.
Ooh. It'll do for now.
No, long term for me, but let's argue.
Let's argue. Well, I don't feel that strongly about it to argue, to be fair. But you give me your opinion. Why is he long term?
Good age. We know he can do in the Premier League. Plays in various different positions. I think he's a fantastic signing for us. I really, really do. I think this is an underrated one. I think the spotlight's been on Scamacca and Paqueta for obvious reasons. I'm not suggesting it shouldn't be. I get it. I'm guilty of doing it as well. Like, hello, striker. Hello, £50 million attacking midfielder, Brazilian flair player. Yes, please. But I think we just completely ignore the guy that's been banging in the goals for Burnley in the Premier League. Can play up front, right wing, left wing, in the number 10 role, left wing back, left back. I mean, last night we were talking about how crucial it is to have players like Ben Johnson that can play various positions. Well, here's a guy that can play various positions at the other end of the pitch. His wages, I'd imagine, will be, I mean, he can be well paid, but I doubt he's the top earner or something. I'd imagine it's quite a standard Premier League wage he's on. 17.5 million. I don't know. I just think I realise I'm now talking about how good the transfer is rather than why the player is long term. But I guess the question is, can you see these players here in 5 years' time? Because that's why they're in the long term. Cornet, absolutely. I can see him being at West Ham in 5 years' time. So, yeah, it's long term for me.
Well, I just thinking, Gio, we've got the unexpected one. We've got the underrated one. We've got the illuminated one. I'm interested to see what anybody else comes up with. Because basically, it's like it started off with the special one with Mourinho. I'd almost like a name for all.
We've got the underwhelming one for Emerson.
I like that. That's good. Excellent.
I'm joking.
You're allowed to actually, I'd say 99% of the people watch this video, you're allowed to joke. Someone's going to be offended. And it won't even be Emerson. There you go. Yeah, look, I like Cornet. I'm really excited. Again, he's somebody I want to see play. I think when his name's on the team sheet, I like to see it. You know, it's I was really pleased with the I think certainly with the performance of when he, had obviously the disallowed, the disallowed one. He had the disallowed goal. I think there's a sharpness to him. There's a directness. I think he looks really lively, and it's something I've been missing. And I think that's also why I like Kehrer as well, because we haven't had a defender like that. He's sharp, he's quick, and I don't think we had a central defender like that for quite some time. So it's interesting to see. And I think when I look at Cornet, I think actually we're not the type of player we've had, and it's the type of player I've been crying out for quite some time, particularly on that left. So, and I'm interested to see him play in the middle as well. So, yeah, mate, look, you stick him where you want, mate.
I'll put him there because I was going to say it's not due for now. What you're talking about is jury's out. Due for now is somebody you expect to have to replace in a couple of seasons' time. And
right, no. I just sort of didn't quite. Anyway, I didn't want to go for the top one. We're doing all right in that top. We've got loads of them in that top tier. We're nice.
That's because I've left a couple of them to the end. Well, Coufal. I think it's jury's out, Gonzo.
Okay.
I think there's an opportunity for him to earn a new contract with us, and I think he's got a long time to do it. He's literally got 90% of the season left. It's a very long time, lots of game time for him. Even if he loses his spot to Ben Johnson, there's still plenty of game time for him to come. Would he get a contract today? Not really. But come the end of the season, I think he may have earned one this season. It's a bit like the corner commentary thing for me. This is a huge season for Coufal, where at the end of it, he gets a 3-year deal, probably with West Ham. That's you set up for life now. Or, sorry, Vladimir, mate, but, that injury, something's done it to you. You're not the player you were when we first got you. Away you go kind of thing. So I think it's a jury's out.
Yeah, I think that's fine, and I think that's fair as well. It's not a definitely off. If I thought, and I said this in my video the other day, if I thought that he could stay for sign a contract, a short contract, and that would be cool, but he wouldn't be necessarily guaranteed then a first team start, then I'd be fine with that. One of my biggest concerns with Coufal is that he's an undroppable Moyes favourite. And I don't have a lot of evidence for that, by the way. Moyes has dropped him before. And I think that's important. But I think it's important for every position, by the way. So I think it's important that if somebody else played at right back and they were crap, that Coufal would get another chance again. I just think that's where we should be. But I think he's been a really good signing for us at that sort of money. But I've not been impressed this season. I think that's the point. And I'll tell you what, if there's a season that you don't want to have as your worst season, it would be the one where your contract is running out. That's what I'd say to him. I'd be saying to him, hold on, mate, this. Who was it? There's a player who was it? Every time, I'm not even sure it was at West Ham, every time their contract was just about to run out, they'd have a cracking season. They'd be crap again. I can't even remember. But yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, we'll leave him in jury's out. You could argue do for now because you expect him to play for the next couple of seasons, but we'll leave him in jury's out. A pivotal season for Vladimir. Right, is there anyone else I think we're not going to... Well, here we go. Here's an interesting one.
Is he cupping his ear? Is that Sam?
No, I'm going to go for this one. Tomas Soucek.
What's he doing?
Who?
Is he cupping his ear?
Soucek? No, he's doing... Hang on, let me show you. He's doing this. He's celebrating.
Oh.
Punching the air.
Okay.
No, I've dropped Soucek somewhere. I put him in time part ways. That was not where I put him. Just let me get him out of there. I just dropped him.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll laugh if someone picks up on that.
I think you could get 4 West Ham fans with 4 different opinions, and you could genuinely pick a category each and make an argument for it. You can find West Ham fans who would have him long term. Some would have him do for now. Some would have him jury's out, and some would have him time part way. I think this is one of the players. If you did a poll, would get 20-something% for almost every tier, and he's possibly the only one as well. Maybe Saeed Benrahma would be the other one, but where would you put Soucek?
I'd put him in long term, and I would like to basically repeat what I just said about Coufal, which is. If I thought I wouldn't, the one thing that would stop me saying long term is if I thought Moyes would play him every game as a guaranteed starter. I think that's a hindrance to us. I'd actually almost want him out if that was the case. But if Moyes can treat him like a normal footballer and play him in the games that suit him, and if somebody else plays well, they start ahead of him, and if he plays well, he starts ahead of them, then I'm happy for him to spend the rest of his career at West Ham, to be honest with you, mate, because I think he is a really big asset to us. I really do. But this guaranteed starting stuff and him playing all the minutes, all the games, you have to give other people a chance. And I don't think he's that good. I don't mean he's crap, by the way. Well, I mean, I don't think he's good enough to be the first name on a team sheet. And that's what it seems like. If you go and look at the minutes from last season, he looks like they would tell the tale of almost the first name on the team sheet. They really would. And that's not what I want to see. I want an avenue open for Flynn Downs to be able to play, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I also think if he can do that and he can be treated equally rather than preferential treatment, then I think he's got to stay.
Yeah, I popped him in long term because just for the reasons you've given. I would have put him in juries out because I'm not sure. It's one of the top two categories for me. And I'm not sure which one it is because I like Soucek a lot, and I think there's
Yeah.
certain games he should be playing, but there's also certain games he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
And I think stuff he's good at, he's very good at. His heading ability is second to none. You get some players that are really good at heading the ball defensively, but offensively they're not very good. Vice versa. You get some players that are fantastic at heading the ball in the opposition box, but in your own one, not so good. I was listening to a thing with Gary Neville and Berbatov, and Berbatov was explaining the difference between the two things. It was 2 or 3 years ago, and they were talking about Berbatov at Man United, and Neville was saying that Fergie was really good at knowing the difference between players who could head it defensively and players who could head it offensively. And Neville will say there's not many that are good at both. Soucek is definitely good at both. And then they were showing a goal that Berbatov scored a header, and he had Fernando Torres marking him. And they said, look, Torres attacking the ball with his head, unbelievable. Put him in your own box. His body language is all wrong. He's facing the wrong way. He's stuck to the spot. So he doesn't know how to defend headers, but attack him. Soucek can do both. Physically, possibly our best player when it comes to getting stuck in and having a bit of a physical battle in the middle of the pitch. I think he's wonderful in the right game. But in the wrong game, I think he's dreadful. But that's on the manager. That's not on Tomas Soucek because, like I said,
Yes,
why
I agree.
fans are getting frustrated with Soucek at the minute or saying he's not good enough now. It's not because of Soucek. He's not got worse. It's just that we now play differently and teams play us differently, and it's exposed it. So, yes, I'll go with long term for me, but something needs to change, and it's an attitude thing with David Moyes. I mean, we've got a couple of new signings here, so let's get rid of one of them. Let's get rid of Scamacca.
Jury's out.
Do you think so?
I do. You're not saying you have to put him there, by the way. You put him where you want to.
I don't really know where to put him. I don't know where I want to put him.
I'm not sure. I don't think he's crap. I'm just not sure. I think maybe we'll possibly save a further, more in-depth analysis for I could almost do a video on his own.
Somebody did suggest us doing a Haller Scamacca type video, so we'll do one of them. But we'll put him in juries out, which actually perfectly summarises why we're putting him in juries out, because there's a 10-minute discussion to be had about him. So we'll do that then. We'll cover Scamacca in a different video. Ogbonna.
Well, unfortunately, Geo, for me, he's got 1 year left on his contract. I think that's probably it for me, mate. In a nice way, you know. Been a great servant, but I just don't ever think. I think the injury. I don't think injuries killed him off as a footballer, but in terms of a Premier League fast-paced footballer, not that he had massive pace anyway. I just don't believe that it's because of his age. I just don't think he'll ever recover from the injury. I don't think he'll be as good as he was before the injury. And it's a real shame. Just came at the wrong time of his career. I think 27, he has that injury, comes back, and I think he's cool as a cucumber. Honestly, I think he is, but not now. Not now, unfortunately, mate. And he looks. I'm surprised he's got back to the level he has, by the way.
Yeah, he's done really well, hasn't he? Like, it deserves immense credit to come back from something like that, especially when it would have been easier for him to retire. Say, right, I'm 33. You know, I'm just I've had it now. I don't need this. I'm going to get back to fitness for quality of life going forward, kind of thing. I would put him in he'll do for now, but I'm going to put him in time to part ways because of A, and I already knew you were going to say that, but B, because it's hard to sort of make an argument against that. But the reason I would put him in he'll do for now is because, well, just that. I think he's got a squad role this summer, whether we like it or not. Hopefully he gets better as the season goes on. My confidence in that is not extremely high, unfortunately. I would love it. I'd love to do this at the end of the season, and we're saying give him a new deal, just a 1 year one, give him a new contract, let him have another season with us, because that would mean he's done incredible between now and then. And that's why I put him in he'll do for now, because I think potentially with Craig Dawson leaving as well, that's already one centre-back you might need to go get next summer. They both leave. It's a difficult one. It becomes quite expensive too. And if he does improve his performances, then I think he could still earn another year here. but we've got to see a drastic improvement, and he almost has to be injury-free for the whole season. Because he's quite an injury-prone defender. Even before the big one, 9 months ago, he would always miss a section of the season. My theory, to summarise Ogbonna at West Ham was, if he was fit for the whole season, he would have probably won a couple of Ham of the Years, but he hasn't, because he would get injured and lose that award to somebody who's been there for the whole season and performed, a high level. Perhaps not as high, but they've been fit. Ogbonna misses a third of the season. You can't really give somebody Ham of the Year if you do that. So I think at times our best player, but unfortunately the player we miss the most because he's injured all the time. Right, let's move on to Michail Antonio. I think this is an obvious one. What are you going to say before I reveal mine?
Well, I think he's got to be due for now because I just don't think he's young enough to be long term. Basically, would be what I would say. If he was, again, I'd say another one. If he was 27, I'd be saying long term. It's not even that I want to sell Antonio, far from it. But I just, I think by the time he's just had a new contract last year, I think he'll see that out, and that'll be that really. But amazing player for us, and as I say, for reasons we'll discuss in another video about Scamacca, I would still argue the best striker at our club.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you've just said there. It's an easy one he'll do for now. Purely an age thing, not an ability thing, not an importance to the team thing, just because of his age. In do for now. Right, let's crack on then. We've got Areola.
Got to be long term, Geo.
Yeah, it has to be.
I don't even think there's I'm not even going to click off the screen.
Right,
this one, mate.
I agree, completely agree. Hassan Ashby.
Well, I would really hope long term, mate. I'd really, really hope long term. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah, 100%. I know he might not sign a new deal and stuff, but that's not really the video. The video is, what do you see of these players having at the club? And long term is...
It's not in our hands, but we would both have him there.
In David Moyes' war room, he will have Harrison Ashby on that long-term board.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I want to see David Moyes' board.
So do I. Jared Bowen.
Long term.
Has to be.
Long term. Hey, that's it. We're doing all right here.
Yeah, that tier's got 2 tiers.
It has. That's making me cry.
Right, 2 more. Craig Dawson.
Look, I don't even know what to put him in. I want to keep him. He doesn't want to stay.
He's got to go and do for now for me. If he decides to stay around an extra year, great, we'll have him. He's a good player to have. But if he decides to go in somewhere, that's up to him. But in terms of planning sort of what you want at the club going forward, I think Dawson, a couple of years out of Dawson would be ideal for us. He's 32 now. That would take him up to 34, homegrown. We know what we get from him on the pitch, which is like a warrior attitude, and that can rub off on a couple of the players as well. And I do often wonder, if you're like, say, Thilo Kehrer, you rock up and you see Craig Dawson flinging himself away with every shot in training, taking bullets, you must think, bloody hell, I've got to play a bit like that. Now, that's what it takes to get a game here. I'm going to have to get a few bumps and bruises along the way from getting shot in the chest by somebody rocketing a football at me. He just does it. It's a he'll do for me with Craig Dawson, but it'll probably be taken out of our hands.
And who would have thought? Because I actually think that we got him on loan. We bought him for 2.5-3 million. I think we'll probably sell him at a profit, and he's been a massively successful transfer. Who'd have thought that? Honestly, nobody.
No.
Unless somebody turns around and says, someone say I predicted that.
But there was some, not many. There was some.
No, I mean the profit. I mean to actually sell him on for a profit. To actually, for him to be that good would. That's what I mean, really, more than anything. But anyway, yeah. So
one more player.
I'd keep him. Who is it? Oh, it's Paqueta. Oh, I think the jury's out, Geo, on him. Really, I'm joking. It can't be the jury's out. It's our record ever signing. It's got to be long term.
Well, then, can you not use that argument for Scamacca?
No, because I'm very sure of Paqueta's quality.
Okay. This is where we go. Let's go down the Paqueta path then, rather than the Paqueta v Scamacca thing. I just needed a bit of context here. You provided the context. I'm satisfied. Paqueta as a key man, I mean, you must be confident he's going to succeed as well as have them qualities.
I really at the end of the video a couple of days ago, I read the quote from him saying the West Ham fans made my mum and my sister cry, and now I'm going to pay them back. And I did it as a little bit of a joke, like a Godfather thing. But stuff like that, I like. I think you get this a lot. I don't know his upbringing, right? I don't know his upbringing, but years ago, I was lucky enough to meet Kehrer, who I know is one of your favourite one of your favourite players.
Thanks.
You're welcome. And I spoke to, I can't say who. I spoke to somebody at West Ham. Somebody who would be known at West Ham, and they said, and he was so polite. It was, I said, what a great guy, right? What a great guy to meet. Very funny, great guy. And the person at West Ham said, well, these African players are all really polite, but they're all really driven as well. He said that they're so driven. He said, and they said about Kehrer, he said, come from nothing. He's so driven to do everything that he can for himself, for his family, and for his, he's basically all his family and friends back in Africa and all the rest of it. And I find
I know who it wasn't you met at West Ham.
Anyway, so I think that's also the same with a lot of the Brazilian ones, particularly if they've come from a poor background. I think they're so driven, and I think they're so just grateful. Sometimes we talk about young English footballers, and I think just being a footballer and you get a Ferrari and all the rest of it. But there's sort of poverty and there's poverty. Some people have got nothing. Some people live in a bloody, live in a favela in a tin shack. Some people think, not having the latest iPhone is poverty. You know what I mean? So there's different levels to it. I just wonder. I just think we might have a very, very driven character on our hands. I think he's got the physical size to cope with the Premier League as well. I also quite like what he said. I think it's Bruno Guimaraes. That's his name, isn't it? At Newcastle. He said, Bruno's one of my best mates. Bruno told me to come to West Ham. Bruno said that West Ham are a good club, but they're very, very hard to play against. Now, I thought that was quite key, actually. So that's his mate telling him what West Ham are like. So I don't think he's coming to West Ham under any illusions, right? I don't think he thinks he's coming to whatever Ten Hag's Ajax team. I think he knows he's coming to a team that will grind it out. And he's saying, oh, well, that's cool. I don't mind that. So I see a determination. I see a bit of a fire in his belly. The talent is not up for debate. He's got the talent. Has he got the application? I think he might.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything you've just said there, my friend. Long-term plan for me, hopefully a massive success as well. But anyway, before we go, let me just run you through the completed tier list. And in the pinned comments of this video, you'll find the players. What you now need to do is copy and paste the players and let us know which tier you would put each player in. See how you get on compared to myself and Gonzo. So in the long term, we have got Pablo Fornals, Flynn Downs, Ben Johnson. We've also got Kurt Zouma and Declan Rice, both doing a little bit of the t-shirt. We've got Thilo Kehrer, as well as a lit-up Nayef Aguerd. We've got Maxwell Cornet with Tomas Soucek, Areola. We've also got Ashby, who's actually quite lit up as well, illuminated Ashby. We've also got Ashby and Bowen and Lucas Paqueta. And they do it for now. So, they're all right for a couple of seasons. Then, we're going to have to do something about it. And we've got Lucas Fabianski next to Said Ben Rama, next to Alec Crespo, with Michael Antonio and Craig Dawson. The jury is out. We're undecided to what the future holds for these players, and that is Conor Coventry as well as Nikola Vlasic. We've also got Emerson, Vladimir Coufal, and Gianluca Scamacca. And in the bottom tier, time to part ways, the ones that we don't want to see at West Ham any longer, essentially. We've got Dan Randolph next to Arthur Masuaku, as well as Manuel Lanzini, and unfortunately, Ogbonna. Now I've just seen you there.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
It's all the rage. Everyone's doing it. Not so much yourself, I see.
Do you know all the players that are eliminated and all the
Yeah.
players doing this are in the top tier of our
I'm
tier
doing
list?
both.
Well, that means you're in a tier of your own.
Can't see now. I've got a tear in my eye. Never mind a tear in my own. Bloody hell. That light works.
Anyway, shall we leave it there, my friend?
Yeah, thank you for joining us. If you're wondering where the first half of this is, by the way, you can hold on a second. We only heard after players. The other half we recorded yesterday. Actually, we didn't record it a minute ago, but it was published yesterday over on the main channel by Witchcraft. What's going to happen now is, just as I'm about to say goodbye, Geo's going to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
It's going to appear on the screen, like a little box that you can click, and you click on that, and you can go and watch it in wonky order. You can watch the first part last.